a day. Eddie Evergreen followed the compass forward. He followed the compass toward a shallow ravine just beyond the clearing, venturing deeper into the unfamiliar stretch of forest. Harper Lane moved alongside him, focused on what lay ahead, kept her tablet ready, her eyes scanning the surroundings. As they walked, the compass's soft glow began to weaken, a sign that they were treading on uncertain ground. Eddie clutched the radio, his knuckles white. He watched the signal bar on its small screen flicker erratically before vanishing completely. A sudden burst of static crackled from the speaker, sharp and intrusive, then just as quickly, silence returned. It was an unsettling quiet, the kind that feels heavier than sound. Harper stopped dead in her tracks, her gaze fixed on her tablet. 2. The various charts and graphs on the screen were a mess of jagged lines. "The signal isn't stable," she announced, her voice tight with concern. "Something out here is interfering with it." Nodding, Eddie fiddled with the radio's dial, his fingers turning it with careful precision. He was trying to catch something, anything, a ghost of a signal in the charged air. For a fleeting, heart-stopping second, the radio sputtered back to life. It wasn't a clear transmission, but a chaotic jumble of broken words, layered over one another, scrambled and distorted into an almost unrecognizable mess. Through the static, fragments of a voice fought to be heard. "The route is sealed, don't follow." The words were a desperate warning. Vet. Before they could make sense of it, the transmission collapsed back into a wall of noise, leaving them with more questions than answers. At that exact moment, the compass in Eddie's hand went haywire. It spun wildly in his palm, its glow intensifying, becoming brighter and more urgent than it had ever been before. He watched, mesmerized, as the needles seemed to fight against an unseen force, a magnetic pull that defied all logic. Finally, with a sharp, decisive snap, it settled, pointing in a completely new direction. Harper leaned over, comparing the compass's new bearing with the digital map on her tablet. She shook her head. "That direction doesn't match the map," she said, her brow furrowed. "Flate, it's not pointing to a landmark or a known path. It's being pulled." They exchanged a look. The choice was unspoken, but clear. They had to follow the signal. They moved forward, the compass now their only guide, leading them until the dense forest suddenly opened into a narrow corridor of trees. The path was unnaturally straight, the trees on either side standing like silent sentinels. Here felt different, heavy, charged, almost electric. It was as if the very sound around them was being stretched and broken apart. Eddie raised the radio again, hoping to catch another piece of the message. But this time, nothing happened. The screen remained dark, lifeless. The device was dead. At the same time, the compass finally steadied, its erratic spinning ceasing. But it wasn't pointing down the corridor anymore. It was pointing back the way they came, away from the strange path and toward the familiar forest behind them. Harper looked up from her tablet, her eyes wide with a dawning realization. The message wasn't finished, she whispered, the words hanging in the still air. Whatever caused that interference? It's still active. It's here. Eddie slowly lowered the dead radio. The incomplete warning, the distorted voice, the chaotic compass set all clicked into place. The warning was clear now. Some paths weren't just hidden from view. They were intentionally blocked. And whatever was blocking this, one didn't want to be found. They had stumbled upon something they weren't meant to see. And now, the path forward had vanished, leaving them standing at the edge of a silent, imposing mystery. What did they just find? What sealed the route? We're just getting started. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.